boys and girls, it's Usernamekate and welcome back to my channel. Now today in this vlog I'm going to be riding Yamaha's R7 sports bike. So if you're interested in the specs of this bike, facts about it and of course how it rides, then stick around, keep watching because I think this video might just be for you. Guys and girls, I am here at Potski Media headquarters in Peterborough and I am riding the Yamaha R7. Just look at it in this colour option, in this livery. It is beautiful. I absolutely love the anniversary scheme on this. But you know what? That is an R1, that's an R7. They don't look too dissimilar. Pretty cool. So guys, this is the R7. Just look at it. It's so beautiful. If we look here, we have a TFT dash. The switchgear, if we look, is relatively uncluttered. Let's fire her up. Ooh! Hello. She sounds nice. We've got Lucia here on a world raid. Right guys, so I am on a general Yamaha day. There's lots of the fleet, but this video is going to specifically be on the R7. Okay, so if we look at the dash, we've got the miles an hour nice and big. We've got fuel nice and big. We've got the revs here. Gear indicator at the top. We've got a nice clean yoke. It's not quite got these cut out like on the R1. Oh, it's quite a sporty position, let me tell you that. Right guys, so we've got a forward facing camera today, just purely because there's kind of nowhere to really mount a camera facing me. So hopefully I'll keep this video, you know, attention grabbing with a fair few B-roll inserts and stuff like that so you can see the bike more clearly. But today I am on Yamaha's R7. Now this one is in the beautiful anniversary colour scheme, which is actually a 2022 colour option. The colour options for 2023 are Icon Blue, Yamaha Black, and this bike starts from £8,910. Now from my research, this bike really doesn't have, you know, insane amounts of technology compared to its competitors, but I think the focus is on just a nice raw, awesome handling machine. You can't currently see anything out of these mirrors. So, first thing that I noticed, the riding position for me is very sporty. I feel like sometimes when you get on these kind of bikes, like the Middleweight Sportsbike, your bars are a bit wishy-washy, they're a bit upright, they're not quite committing to that extreme sporty riding position. I feel like this one commits to a sporty riding position. My feet are quite far back on what feels like rear sets. We've got some nice drop down clip-on bars. Like, I'm wearing a rucksack today because I'm carrying a lot of filming stuff, and it is quite apparent that I'm quite lent over. So we have KYB fully adjustable suspension on the front. The brakes are pretty good. Yeah, the brakes are wicked. Now, one of the interesting things about this bike is the fact that it uses the CP2 engine, Yamaha's cross-plane parallel twin. Has a bit of an offbeat firing order. So this bike utilises Yamaha's CP2 engine. It's an engine that is in quite a lot of their range, from the Tracer 7, the MT-07, the XSR 700. So it is a tried and tested and seemingly well loved engine. It puts out 72 brake horsepower and 67 Newton meters of torque. Oh, Lucia literally looks so amazing on that bike. Honk honk. Oh, life is good. Yeah, I feel like people were a little bit shocked when the R7 came out and it was putting out 72 brake horsepower. I think given the fact that it has R7 in its name and you have an R6 and the R6 puts out more power and is now only a track-based bike, you can't buy one for the road, new anyway. The bike has a slipper clutch, which is great for, you know, sporty downshifts without locking up the rear. And we have an optional quick shifter as well. Now this one isn't fitted with one, but we can fake a quick shift. It's no dramas. Let's go. Oh, it gets up to 60 nice and quick. Brakes are exceptional. Yeah, the brakes are so bitey. Like, for road going purposes, I think they're excellent. So the height of this bike is quite tall, 835 mil. We have a wet weight of 188 kilograms. Engine braking's nice. The mirrors are very nice. I can see a lot out of them, they're quite far out. The screen is nice to tuck behind from an ergonomics perspective. The dash is pretty clear, it's easy to read. And overall it feels and it looks, in my opinion, quality. But to be fair, I didn't really expect anything less from Yam. Yeah, the brakes are really impressive about this bike, I would say. Yeah, super impressive. As if this is a 30 going into a national. So we're in a 30, let's go to second. Oh, okay. So it gets there really fast. You know, there are so many bikes that have crazy amounts of horsepower that are just gonna get you to lose your license. sometimes I think it is a nice sweet spot having like 70 to 100 brake horsepower. You get a certain satisfaction out of revving the knackers off something lower powered than I think you do with a Billy Big Balls, you know, touching 200 brake horsepower bike. Drop down, slipper clutch is beautiful. Bring it round, it looks a bit dusty on them roads. What's this? What's this? Nothing coming. Canada. Switch it off. Use first as a brake. Okay guys, so first impressions on this bike, I'm actually really enjoying it. It's a lot sportier than I'm used to. The clip-ons are quite aggressive for, you know, a 70 horsepower sports bike. You'd think they'd be a bit, you know, higher up, but no, they are really kind of aggressive. Oh gosh, I probably shouldn't pull the clutch in when that is my brake. But yeah, it's just it looks the part. It's the World GP 60th anniversary colour, which is gorgeous. We've got the little gills, got the lovely branding. If we look down, we've got twin discs. You know, we've got 4-port radially mounted calipers. If we look at the rear, we've got a Nissan caliper on the rear, single disc. Tyre S22, so they're not messing around when it comes to rubber. And yeah, she looks thick. She's a 180, so she's got some presence. Wicked. Good. Yeah, I feel like this bike is a cornering machine. It handles so incredibly well. Like, so incredibly well. Optional quick shifter, would I put it on? You know, it's nice, but I feel like you can get a good fake quick shifter going on, you know, just with a shutting off the throttle a little bit. Well, shutting off completely for a split second. The brakes, honestly, they're just so good. Very sharp, not a complaint. Because when you're on something that's goading you to go really fast, well, as fast as you can legally go, cough cough, it's good to be able to stop. Oh, beautiful. So we have LED lights all around this bike, nice and modern. Drop a gear, we've got a slipper clutch, bit of brake, swing it round, oh look, and flop it in. Wow! So nice. Oh, these roads are nice and twisty. Honestly. Wow. I do always get paranoid of dust on the road. yeah, to quickly summarise how I feel about riding this bike, it's very, very sporty. If you want to imitate being on like a big super sports in terms of feel and looks, this is an excellent option. But it's also got power where, yeah, you haven't got bragging rights at the pub, but you've got internal satisfaction when you wind it on and you absolutely give it what for. The suspension is nice, it's compliant, it's firm but it's not neck breaking. And it's fully adjustable, so even if straight out the box it's not quite set right for you, you can play with it a little bit. Honestly, it's a real nice point and shoot bike. If I could give it any criticism, it would be that when the bars are full lock when you're turning, there's really not that much room between your wrist, the bars and the bike. And I definitely feel like if you have bigger wrists than I do, which most people do, you might struggle with the full lock on this thing. But it's just something to be mindful of. That in situations where you might need full lock, you can't really use it. Right, we're in a national. See, it gets to national speeds real quick. It's got a fair bit of torque, a nice punchy 689cc parallel twin. Yeah, so far on these roads, very impressive. I mean, personally, I'm not sure from an ergonomic standpoint how long I could ride on this, given that the wrist position is quite aggressive. But definitely, if I was a fair weather rider and I wasn't doing big miles, or I was out to do purposeful miles, but you know, expecting that if I am going to put a few hours saddle time in, you know, it isn't going to be as comfortable as, say, getting on a Tracer 700 for example. But if you want to do that, then you get a Tracer 700, don't you? You don't get the R7. It's like with anything, you need to test ride things yourself. It's alright taking, you know, some YouTuber's opinion from the internet, some Jane Doe, but at the end of the day, I'm not you, my body's not like yours, my mentality's different. I'm not saying that in a superior way, it's just a different mentality. I want different things out of a bike. So as great as this bike is, in my opinion, for what it is supposed to be, go and ride one yourself. Get some nice weather booked in like this. Jobs are good in. Well, guys and girls, I am back in from riding the R7. We're back to base and it's time to reflect on this bike and what I thought about it. Now, I don't really ride sports bikes on the road, but the fact that it's, you know, 72 brake horsepower kind of gave me a little bit of faith that, you know, it's not going to rip my arms off when I whack on the throttle, but also that I'm going to get great satisfaction in working it and hustling it along the country lanes. It is a cracking bike. It feels well built, it feels premium. I mean, this specific graphic with the anniversary colours, you know, it's a head turner, it's eye-catching, it's stunning. We've got the gold wheels, the gold upside-down forks, it's beautiful paint job, and it's just stunning, it really is. To ride this bike, it feels like a proper sports bike. You're really on your wrist, it's quite wristy. It isn't kind of like a... I feel like you get a few bikes in this class that are kind of trying to be a sports bike, but they're not fully committing because the bars are a little bit up. But this is fully committed with, you know, some proper racy clip-ons. The rear sets are quite high, so you are in a proper sporty position. And yeah, it's just a feel-good bike. It looks beautiful. It's really, really nice to ride. Yeah, it doesn't have, you know, loads of, well, it doesn't have any modes. It doesn't, you know, have a lot of technology. If you're kind of techie and you like that stuff, but what it does offer you is a really satisfying, raw riding experience, which, you know, sometimes that's just all you need to be at one with your bike and have fun and enjoy it. What I will say is, after a few hours riding this thing, I kind of felt it in my wrists. I'm not used to riding sports bikes, and when I am, it's usually on track where you're doing 100 plus, so you know the wind's kind of pushing you up a little bit, and just, you know, you're gripping with your knees, so it's taking the pressure off your wrists a little bit. After a day riding on the road on some quite labour intensive twisties, you know, I was finding it a little bit on the wrists, but I expected that from a sports bike. And also one thing that I'll comment on is when it's a full lock, the bar is really close to the bike, so it doesn't really leave much room for your wrist. But if you're not really full locking it all the time, then you won't notice it, so it's not too bad. I asked some of the other girls and they were like, oh, I've not noticed it, so maybe it's just me. So I'm going to give you guys an idea of what it is like for me to sit on the R7. Now, the bike has a seat height of 835mm. We have a fairly narrow seat, so I'm hoping that it's not going to throw the legs out too wide. And I am a 5'4" individual with a 29-inch inside leg measurement, and this is what it's like for me to sit on the bike. So as you guys can see, I do have the ball of my foot down here, and it is the same on the other side. Again, if I'm stopping at a junction, then it does allow it to be a flat foot on one side. Talking about the riding position of this bike, if my balls of my feet are on the pegs as intended, we do have quite a sporty, you know, bottom half riding position, and then that is mirrored on top as well. So yeah, you are quite forward. It's quite wristy, but it is a sports bike, so I would expect nothing less. Guys and girls, I hope you have enjoyed this vlog as much as I have enjoyed riding the R7. I've had an absolute blast. It's a bike that surprised me. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, and it's one of those bikes where you just feel pretty cool and a bit of a badass when you're on it. I like the fact that it's fully committed to the cause of being a sports bike. I do very much feel like your head is down and your butt is up, and I think it's very in line with the R range. You know, they're not half-arse in this, they're committing to giving you guys a proper sporty feeling sports bike. We've got, you know, quite high pegs, we've got low bars, and yeah, I really like that about the R7. Because it is an R7 and it utilises the CP2 engine that is in the MT-07, I feel like when Yamaha first announced that they were bringing out an R7, everyone had high hopes of like super crazy power. You know, it should be a step up from the R6 in terms of power, but it hasn't panned out like that, and I'm not mad. I understand it. I get why they've used that engine. It's a cracking engine. It sounds awesome, and I think it's great that they've put it in the road going bike that can go on track, but I also like the fact that they've reserved the R6 race purely as a thoroughbred track bike. So let me know what you guys think of that decision in the comments below. I know it kind of divided people at the time, but having ridden Yamaha's R7 on the road, yeah, I've really enjoyed it. It's definitely got a place there, probably as well as on the track, though I haven't ridden it on track. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyed my time, even if after a few hours my wrists did start to hurt. But that's what happens when you've got a bike that's, you know, committing to being an aggressive sports bike, and I respect that. I respect it. If you guys have enjoyed this vlog, please hit the subscribe button. It always helps my channel. And until the next time, guys, take care, look after each other, and ride safe. Bye.